Hello aspirants, welcome back to Anthropology PYQ series. So friends, a very good morning to all of you, and let's try to solve one PYQ from Anthropology today. So friends, as a part of our discussion, let us take up another important question from paper 2 and let's try to solve it. So look at the question now. So we are on day 40. So we have done almost 39 questions and we are on for day 40. So look at the question. Highlight the significant contributions of B.S. Guha, Irawati Karve and S.R.K. Chopra to Indian anthropology. So this is the question. So this is a question that has been picked and asked from unit number 4 of your anthropology paper 2. So this is a simple question, direct question, but you have to have a good knowledge to attain this particular question. So let's try to see how we can approach and let's try to have a glance of the answer, how we can write. Is that it clear? So now let's try to proceed further with respect to this particular question. So those who have joined in online, so did you attempt this particular question or have you tried to just attempt the question? Anyone by choice? So good morning once again, those who are joining now. Right. So the question is a beautiful question where the question includes various aspects. First, you look at B.S. Guha. B.S. Guha was a physical anthropologist who was very well known for racial classification. And then Irawati Karve. Irawati Karve was an Indo-sociologist and anthropologist. So she was predominantly from socio-cultural anthropology section. And then furthermore, if you see, so S.R.K. Chopra. S.R.K. Chopra was a paleoanthropologist and paleontologist. So they're like he is from another genre. So the question has been beautifully framed so that they have incorporated all different scholars at one place. So this is one important and peculiar thing that we can see and observe from this particular question. Now let us try to know and let us try to understand this in a systematic fashion. So there. First, let's begin with the basic introduction. So in the basic introduction, you can talk about the contributions of various scholars towards anthropology, and you can say that amongst various scholars, so scholars like B.S. Guha, S.R.K. Chopra and Irawati Karve are some of the renowned anthropologists who contributed to the anthropology. So that's how you can introduce the answer. Then you can straight forwarded you can jump to the body portion of the answer. So there you can mention about the contributions of B.S. Guha first. So now, so B.S. Guha is very well known for what? So text in the chat box. So whatever the points that contributions that you can recollect, now you text the contributions of B.S. Guha to Indian anthropology. So let's try to do it simultaneously, right? So now, first mention the contributions of B.S. Guha. Right? So first, when we talk from the contributions of B.S. Guha, so what were the significant things? So what were his contributions to and the Indian anthropology? The first and foremost contribution that we should speak is all about the racial classification of the Indian population. So you can simply and you can directly mention about the contributions because the question is straightforward. So first contribution, you can mention the concept of racial classification of Indian population. So this was the first and very prominent contribution of B.S. Guha. So where did he done this and when did he did this and in what context he has done that and all those criteria. So what are the basic criteria and what is the type. So that is also we can mention. So very good. So good, Vinushree. So racial classification. So there first, let's try to see that in which work he has explained it. So he has explained this in the text known as Racial Elements in Indian Population. So this is the work so that he has done. So he has given this in 1935. So he has mentioned this in a particular book. So the name of the work was, you can remember that work was Racial Elements racial elements of Indian population. This was the book he has written. And he has done this systematic work as a part of 1931 Indian census. So that was another important thing, context you should know. So as a part of Indian census. So 1931, so that was the context. So in this context he has done. So when you able to, if you can able to recollect H.H. Risley's contribution, Risley's classification of races, so there he has done it in the context of 1901 Indian census. Can you able to recollect that? So that's another important thing that you should recollect here. Now, what was the basic classification or elements? Racial types. So he has given 6 major types of racial elements. So what were those 6 major elements? So if you can recollect, you can just text in the chat box. So racial elements. So first, it was basically it was like Negritos, Proto-Australites. So was one thing. Negritos, Proto-Australites. Then Mongolites. Then Mediterraneans. Then we have Western Brachycephalics, Western Brachycephals, and apart from that, he also mentioned about Nordics. So although he has given 6 types of racial elements in India, so there we can have further subdivisions of it, but we are not going to have it. So simple contribution that we should remember is that, so B.S. Guha's first and initial contribution is with respect to racial classification of Indian population. So this you have to remember. So that is one significant contribution, right? So what have you texted? Yes, so Vinushree. So Proto-Australites, Nordics, Mediterraneans, Western Brachycephalics, very good. So like all of them are the different racial types according to our B.S. Guha. So then if you see other important contributions, so actually when we see from the perspective of Anthropological Survey of India, so Anthropological Survey of India was not existed till 1945. So then in 1945 onwards, what has happened? So slowly when Guha has returned back to India, he simply motivated the Geological Survey of India to establish a wing. So there anthropology as a wing has been established. So then, so systematically under the Department of Education, Anthropological Survey of India has been systematically established. So this is where, so our B.S. Guha served as the first founding director of the Anthropological Survey of India. So this is one important and significant contribution of our B.S. Guha. So served as founding director of Anthropological Survey of India. This is very important contribution because his role is pivotal in establishment of it. So ANSI, Anthropological Survey of India. So you should not write ASI because it may be confused with Archaeological Survey of India also, right? So that is one important aspect. So that's where, like, we should understand this is another important contribution of B.S. Guha, right? So furthermore, let's try to proceed further. So right, so a very good morning to all again, once again those who have joined very recently. So yes, namaste. So then furthermore, if you see, so he has also contributed very well to the tribal welfare. So where, so in Bihar, we had an institute called as Bihar Tribal Research Institute. So at Ranchi. So in Bihar Tribal Research Institute, also he served as the director. So that was another important contribution. So this is one another important thing that you should remember. Served as director of Bihar Tribal Research Institute. Research Institute at Jharkhand, at Ranchi. So this is another important thing. So here what he has done in this realm, so he also worked in the realm of tribal welfare. So in the tribal welfare realm, so he has strongly advocated for one approach. So what were the various approaches of the tribes? So to develop them, so can you able to recollect them? First is isolational approach, second one is assimilational approach, and third one is we have integrational approach, isn't it? Can you able to recollect those approaches of a tribal development? So like Elvin Gure debate, so you can recollect that. So this is where, so when we see from our B.S. Guha's perspective, when there was such kind of issue between assimilation or integration or such kind of thing, assimilation or isolation, so there he was advocated for simply in the realm of tribal welfare, he advocated for protectionist integration, protective integration approach. So this is a peculiar approach that our B.S. Guha has suggested and he advocated. So this is one another important contribution. Right, so this is where another important contribution. So next important contribution that we should remember from the B.S. Guha is that, so he was a pioneer physical anthropologist. So he introduced scientific anthropometry to Indian anthropology. So that is another important aspect. So he was a pioneer physical anthropologist. Pioneer physical anthropologist, so who systematically used anthropometry. There also he introduced scientific anthropometry. What do you mean by anthropometry? What do you mean by anthropometry? Anthropometry refers to the it's a science of measurement of the physical variations, so physical parts of the human being. So that is known as anthropometry. So he introduced this scientific anthropometry to physical anthropology. So in India, so there, like we can also call him as pioneer physical anthropologist. So like that, some of the contributions we can mention about B.S. Guha. Is that it clear? So shall we just proceed ahead? So what points you have mentioned? Can you let's check. So what you have mentioned. Okay, so we have Raj Verma. So okay, Raj Verma, at the end of the session I'll address your doubt. So as of now, let's proceed with the discussion. So there, so this is all with respect to the contributions of B.S. Guha. So remember them, like racial classification, and then he served as founding director of the Anthropological Survey of India, and he also served as the director of the Bihar Tribal Research Institute at Ranchi, and then in the realm of tribal welfare, he also served, he advocated for the protective integrationist approach. And then he was also a physical anthropologist where he introduced scientific anthropology, right? So that's one important aspect. So furthermore, if you see the next part of the question, it was asking about the contributions of our Irawati Karve. So now, can you able to mention anything about Irawati Karve? What is the peculiarity of the Irawati Karve? So where we can remember her contributions. So Irawati Karve. So one important thing that you should know about Irawati Karve is that Irawati Karve was a very foundational person and pioneering person in anthropology, where we can say her as that she was one of the India's first women anthropologists. So that is the credentials that you can give to Irawati Karve. So first and foremost thing that you should know and you should remember is that, so she is basically regarded as the India's first women anthropologist or female anthropologist. So this is one important thing. India's first female anthropologist. That was the credentials that we can accord her. So this is very, very important thing. So she was the first women anthropologist in India. So that is one important thing. Then furthermore, so in 1929, she is very much, once she returned back to India after completing her the anthropological studies in abroad. So once she returned back, she systematically, what she has done means, actually she was an Indologist and she was a sociologist and she was also an anthropologist. So she has proposed a kind of good integrated approach of all these things. And she has given a systematic ethnic case study also. So she belongs to Chit Pavan Brahmin community. So what she has done, so look at her dedication, that she herself studied her own caste as a case, and she explained that with to the entire world. So that's one important contribution of the Irawati Karve. So what she has done, she has proposed, or she integrated Indology. Indology means the scientific study of India, and like that, Indology, sociology, and anthropology, particularly physical anthropology here, anthropology. And there she proposed a broad integrated framework for this. That means we should not study these things in an isolated manner. We have to study them in an integrated manner. So where she proposed like a Chit Pavan Brahmins, an ethnic studies. So that was the work that thesis that she has written. So you can recollect the thesis. So what was her thesis means? Her thesis was based on Chit Pavan Brahmin. She's actually from Maharashtra. So Chit Pavan Brahmin, an ethnic study. So this she has done in 1928. So this is very early times. So later on, what she has done, so she has moved on to systematically study various aspects. So then why Irawati Karve is very much famous in anthropology means, so Irawati Karve is very much famous so for her kinship studies and kinship organization. So she was a pioneer of kinship studies in India, so that we can have it, right? So she was a pioneer of kinship studies in India. So this is one important aspect. So we should recollect her kinship studies, right? So some of you have joined late. So again, once again, very good morning to all. So you can just follow the missed portion later. So she has done a classic work. So the classic work that has been written by our Irawati Karve is that, so we can have the classic work. She has done a classic, she has written a classic work on kinship studies. So it is nothing but the kinship organization in India. So that was the book. So remember it, kinship organization in India. So this she has done almost after 25 years, so 1953. So in and around 1953, she has done this. So where she has systematically divided the entire kinship studies into 4 genres or 4 realms. So she proposed that. So first zone, so northern zone in India. Then second one, southern zone. So that was another zone of study. Then she proposed we have our central and eastern zones. Central Zone of Kinship Studies and 4 Eastern Zone. So try to refer once. So what are the various zones of kinship studies? So this was the zones of kinship studies she proposed and she explained in a systematic fashion. Right, furthermore, so then by doing this, so she has like she was one of the person like first systematic pan-India anthropological studies of kinship has been done by her. So that is another important thing. So first pan-India kinship studies. So that is one significant contribution we can recollect. So then furthermore, if you see, so she was also very well known and famous for anthropological interpretation of the Indian mythology and Indian epics. So that is another thing. So where we see another contribution is she is very well famous for anthropological interpretation of Indian epics. So like Mahabharata, so all those things she interpreted in anthropological way. So that is very important contribution of Irawati Karve. So there she is known for interpretive anthropology, contributed in this also, interpretive anthropology. So you can remember that. Then furthermore, where he has done, so for example, if we took up one of her work, so she has written a work in roughly 1968. So the work of her was, what was the work means? So her work was Yuganta. So Yuganta basically refers to the end of an epoch. End of an epoch. So this was the book that she has written. So this she has written in around 1968. So here she tried to explain some of these aspects. So she used Mahabharata where she talked about like Kunti and such kind of roles as the common man. So like that she talked about that. So that is another important thing. So then furthermore, so where she is famous. So Irawati Karve is also very well known for her contributions towards the caste studies. So where she introduced one another important concept known as caste clusters. So that is one important aspect. So she introduced caste clusters. So there she systematically said that there is a different theory of origin of the caste. So through these caste clusters, she explained the theory of origin of caste. So this is another important peculiar contribution of Irawati Karve. So where did she done that? So she explained this origin of the caste system in her book that is known as Hindu Society and Interpretation. This she has done in 1961. So what was the work? So work was like the Hindu Society. The Hindu Society and Interpretation. So this was one important contribution that she has done. So this she has done in around 1961. So this is some important contribution. Furthermore, she was also very much famous for writing some sort of competitive kind of comprehensive approach to understand Maharashtra and its regional aspects. So if you see from Maharashtra, so Maharashtra, is it a southern Indian country or northern Indian country? What do you say? Maharashtra is a southern Indian country or northern Indian country? What do you say? So friends, this is where she picked that peculiar strategic location of the Maharashtra and she tried to explain some of the intricacies to understand the Maharashtrian population, Maharashtrian culture, and Maharashtrian traditions, customs in a different way. So in her book, the name the Maharashtra, land and its people. So this she has done it in around 1968. So Maharashtra, the land and its people, so that was the work. So there she systematically mentioned. So she systematically mentioned about the various characteristics and how Maharashtra has been formed and all such kind of things. So Maharashtra is strategically located at the intersection of the both the northern India and the central India. So where northern India and the southern India. So where we can have it like mostly it is in the central part and it is also belongs to the southern part. So we cannot classify it exactly. So that's the condition. So she took that kind of advantage and she explained that how Maharashtra has been shaped systematically by using both northern as well as the southern characteristics. So this is one thing that you should remember. Is that clear? So these are some of the contributions of Irawati Karve that we can recollect. Now here comes our SRK Chopra. Have you heard about SRK Chopra? So can you mention some of the contributions of SRK Chopra if you can recollect? So SRK Chopra. So who was he and what were his contributions? SRK Chopra. Shiv Rajkumar Chopra. So SRK means Shiv Rajkumar Chopra. So that's the full name of SRK. So he was a paleoanthropologist and paleontologist. So paleoanthropologists or paleontologists, what do? They will systematically study about the fossils. So being a part of Indian paleontologist or paleoanthropologist, so SRK Chopra is very well famous for the paleoanthropological discovery of Shivalik fossils. So that was very important contribution, right? So let's try to have. So first of his contribution is with respect to the paleoanthropological discovery of Shivalik hill fossils. That means fossils associated with the Shivalik hills. So now, so he had an extensive work that has been done in and around there, and along with that, so he has discovered some of the important fossils in the Shivalik hills region. So which primate fossils he found? So that is another important aspect. So what was the answer? So Pragna is saying that paleoanthropologist and racial classification. Good. So Venushri. So paleontologist and primatologist. Very good. So both of them are very right answers. So you can remember about him. So he was okay. So anyhow, we'll discuss this. So paleoanthropological discovery. So there, as a part of this, what he has done. So he discovered some primate fossils. So what primate fossils he identified? So that is another important aspect. So when we see, so in his paleoanthropological excavations, so he systematically discovered one of the mandible of Gigantopithecus. So that was one key findings. So he identified or discovered mandible of Gigantopithecus. So try to just look at the question, Miocene hominoid fossils. So we have also done one question in 2025 also, 25 only. So go to that video and try to check that. So you can just get to know about the Gigantopithecus. So there also we have discussed about Gigantopithecus. So robust body structure will be there. So there while discussing we have said that it would be called as the one of in a paradoxical way, I have said that Bahubali of the primate species, where you can have robust body structure. So like that. So go there and you check there. So then, furthermore, he also systematically discovered one another primate fossil that is known as Pliopithecus krishnai. So that was one thing. It was Pliopithecus krishnai. So this was one thing. So now look at the nomenclature. It was Pliopithecus. It is another new Miocene primate fossil. So look at the name. So Krishna. So Krishna Taneja. So Krishna Taneja was actually, she was the wife of our SRK Chopra. So our SRK Chopra has kept the nomenclature like that. So most probably by giving some sort of recognition or in recognition of her wife. That could be one another thing. Right? So Krishna Taneja was the wife of SRK Chopra. So we can see the relevance here, Pliopithecus, the Krishna. So that is another important thing that you can recollect and remember. So then if you see, very important contribution of SRK Chopra to primatology as well as paleoanthropology is that, so he has systematically invented Chopra's pelvimeter. So that is another important contribution. So invention of Chopra's pelvimeter. So this actually revolutionized the study of the primatological studies. So where at the time, like we do not have any much instruments. So it was an instrument which systematically was useful for differentiating or measuring the angle of the pelvis. So when we measured the angle of the pelvis, we can just identify that this particular fossil belongs to female or male. So that was one important thing. So it was one instrument to measure pelvic angle. So it was very instrumental in identifying that thing. So this is where, so he was very famous for this contribution also. So try to remember this. So then furthermore, if you see, he was extensive primatologist also. He has done extensive primatological studies. So contributed a lot to that. So this contribution also we can mention, extensive primatological studies. So where if you see, he has submitted more than around 150 research papers on primatology. That means you can understand what was the dedication of SRK Chopra towards the primatology and paleoanthropology. So that is one important thing. So then if you see furthermore, so he was also one of the founders of he actually founder of the Department of Anthropology in the Punjab University. So this is very important contribution. So founder of Department of Anthropology in Punjab University. So later on, this Department of Anthropology has become a world's renowned center for the primatological studies. So this has one important thing. So Paleoanthropological Research Center, that was the credential of this one. So this became world's renowned Paleoanthropological Research Center. So remember, this is one important thing. So this is another important contribution of SRK Chopra, right? So furthermore, with all his contributions to the paleoanthropology and primatology, so actually what he has done means he systematically placed the Indian subcontinent in the global map of human evolutionary studies. So that is another important thing. That means he systematically done this thing, and where like Indian subcontinent in the realm of the global human evolutionary studies. So this was the contribution again of SRK Chopra. So with all such kind of contributions, so his contributions also were very much renowned and significant in anthropology, right? So that's where, so there are some of the important contributions of these scholars. Be it could be SRK Chopra, be it could be Irawati Karve, and be it could be our B.S. Guha. B.S. Guha was primarily a physical anthropologist, and he is also very well known for integrative approach, so where he tried to integrate all other branches. Then came like Irawati Karve. Irawati Karve was predominantly socio-cultural anthropologist, but she has also done some of the primatological works also, or the paleoanthropological works, archaeological works also, where she in fact worked with H.D. Sankalia. So can you able to recollect the name H.D. Sankalia? So Irawati Karve also worked with the H.D. Sankalia, and she has done some of the excavation works also. And there she also advocated for an integrative approach of all the branches. Then comes our SRK Chopra. So he is also a paleoanthropologist and primatologist. So principally he was a physical anthropologist, but he also had an integrative approach. So from that perspective, the question is a beautiful question where we can have the relevance of each branch of anthropology, and they have picked one scholar from that branch. So that's how you can mention, and you can say conclude the answer, right? So any further doubts from the question point of view? Right, so that's one important aspect. So let's see. Now there was a question from Raj Verma. So what was the question? Let's try to see. So my exam target 2027 and 2028. I'm apting anthropology optional. Can you make this strategy roadmap session for the upcoming 27 and 28? And Saji, these lectures can we follow for 2028 exam and how? So right. So Raj Verma. So first of all, I congratulate you for selecting anthropology as an optional or choosing anthropology as an optional. So in fact, anthropology can help you to sail through the journey of UPSC Civil Services Examination. There are so many advantages that you can have when you proceed with anthropology optional. So if we talk from some of the advantages of anthropology optional, so the syllabus is very well defined in the notification itself, and the questions could be mostly straightforwarded questions. So slight applicative questions you can expect. That's one important thing. So then, if we talk from the point of the nature of the subject, mostly the subject is static and less of dynamic. So that is another important advantage that you can have. So once you prepare for it, and it would be done forever. So slight updations would be required, and you have to enrich your knowledge in main course of your preparation. That would be second point. Then the next important thing with respect to scoring prospects. So with the right strategy and with the right guidance and with right approach, there is every possibility that you can score very high in anthropology. So that is another important aspect. So there you can score more than 300 plus, and the top mark in anthropology was 362. So that is another important thing. So in the similar fashion, if you see there, you can have a good overlapping of the syllabus with the GS also. So once you study here, so same can be studied in general studies there also. So that is another important aspect. So that's how. So if you opt for anthropology, you can have multitude of advantages. Now coming back to roadmap. So roadmap, like I can explain it to you, you can just take a mentorship session. So in the link, in the description link, you can find the mentorship link. So take up, just register yourself. It would be free one-to-one mentorship. So I'll just connect you directly, and I'll just try to explain you the roadmap personally. So that's one another thing. So then you can absolutely follow these lectures for your 2027 and 28 preparation also, because these are previous year questions. We are trying to pick the important and hotspot areas and themes from anthropology, and we are trying to discuss them. So if you can able to understand these aspects, so whatever we are trying to study in PYQs, so they'll be definitely relevant in any year, be it could be 26, 27 or 28, whatever the year. So from that point of view, you can follow these lectures for 27 attempt or 28 attempt, or even if you are going to appear for 26 attempt also. Right? So that's all from my side, Raj Verma. So you can just register yourself in the mentorship session. So that would be free one-to-one mentorship session. So I'll explain your doubt personally there. Right, friends, so for all others, those who have joined, so thank you all of you for joining. So I hope there are no doubts. So try to write answers and try to share the answers through our Telegram channel. So you can join our anthropology guide, and there you can find some more other relevant material, as well as you can share your answers. So thank you all for joining. So let's meet again tomorrow with another important question. Have a nice day.